Like, what, you guys want to check out what's going on with academics? Let's hear it.
Give people, I hope when you're watching me, the reason why what we do, I know my name is DJ Academics, but even though that, what we have here is the Academy. Through all the laughter, the bullshit, the fun, I hope you guys get a little bit of business insight. You get a little bit more knowledge, and you get on other channels about news stories or political stuff, or maybe even, criminal cases, or just music in general, the industry. That's what we strive to do.
Doing the PR work.
We've kind of spoken about Vlad and Boosie and whatever's going on with them. I want to give you this last thing, and this is for all my entrepreneurs out here. I've told the story before. If you're not a stranger to this channel, you probably have heard the story 10 times. It's okay. I'll tell you for the 11th. I always said to people, I truly believe I was on the best hip hop show of all time. Me and Joe Budden, we had a show called Everyday Struggle. It was on Complex Networks. I really believe we did the damn thing. While at Complex, I watched media change. When me and Joe walked up in that building, they had about probably like 150 print staff. So people that would write articles, people who were all about, editorial and this and stuff, but it was writing articles. It was about going to a website to read articles. When we walked up in there and we did our thing to make sure that we were compatible in doing a show, and they knew we were starting the show, and the show starts with a bang, the next day, or maybe it was the week, we showed up. There was a bunch of computers sitting in the corner. They cleared out 2 floors. They fired like 100 people at least. I think it was
Damn.
about 200 people.
Yo, that is true, bro. Like, man, the internet done changed how we do things, bro. It did. Like, it revolutionized media and journalism 110%. Back in the days, you had to wait for Double XL to drop the source, to get your hip hop news. Now, when websites came, bro, it changed the game for real. Changed the game for real. What?
Fired. That was Complex changing their whole stance, that they didn't want to be majority a print media company anymore.
Print
They wanted
media's
to be
dead.
video.
Print media's
They
dead.
learned quickly what worked for them. Joe Ack on screen, this is explosive. Fuck writing articles. This is the new wave. That show was such an amazing show. I'm still very fortunate that I was a part of it. I'm fortunate that I shared the time on there with Joe Budden. And I was always saddened when it ended. You guys know this. I really wanted it to continue because I knew I was making history. I knew how great it was.
Well,
I do remember, though, the day that I knew that Everyday Struggle was over. And it was before you guys knew. That day was the day I realized one very important thing in business. Complex, through it being a company that was huge, but then it was trying to establish this video department, and they were very lackadaisical with information. Right, a lot of people had access to how much money they were making, how much the deals were bringing in, and they didn't care too much about it because everybody that worked at Complex mostly worked for Complex. Even if they knew how much money Complex was making, it's none of their business. You get an hourly rate, that's it. Well, it didn't really apply to people like me and Joe because we were seen as vendors. We were contracted. We were outside the company, but working with the company. The day I knew Everyday Struggle was over was the day Joe Budden walked into that office and he figured out how much Complex was getting paid compared to what we got paid. We had gotten a sponsorship from Spotify, and that sponsorship seemingly was like $700,000 to do like 6 or 7 episodes, which is damn near like 100,000 per. Consecutive weeks. Remember, there's 4 weeks in a month. Essentially, they wanted to give me and Joe Budden a bump of like $20,000. So, like 700,000 come in, they want to give us, let's just call it 50. So 650,000 they were going to keep. Now I'm pretty sure they were like, oh, well, they had other stuff. And, there was this whole idea of, no, well, they paid for more stuff. They paid for some stuff on our site, this and third. The moment Joe figured that out, Joe said, I'm not doing that fucking Friday show. That's supposed to be the Spotify show. No matter what happened. I wasn't that big on money. I was doing really good on YouTube. Wasn't that big. Like, I just wanted to keep making history. But Joe, he's a businessman and he's his own man. He said he died before getting back on that fucking camera. And once that happened, it devolved into multiple other things. And the show basically was fractured. I was doing the show with sitting guests, like other people that's subbing in for Joe. And negotiation or renegotiation was a shit show. Shit was over, man. Joe subsequently leaves. He
That's
goes
so
to
painful,
sign
bro.
with Spotify. And I could imagine the money that Spotify was paying Complex for me and him, he probably got his fair share then, right? Why did I tell you that story?
Yeah.
Because I learned in that moment there's a critical importance in between your employees and you being the business. What does that mean? If Apple told, I don't know, well, they probably already know, but you can't defeat Apple. The point is, if you told somebody how much money you made off of them, after a while, they're going to come knocking for more. And most jobs, they usually tell you, you can't speak about how much money you're making. Why? Because in life, you get what you negotiate, not what you deserve. This idea, my worth. You get what you negotiate, not what you deserve. And as I said with Everyday Struggle, the moment Joe realized how much money was coming in, and he wanted to get pieces of that money, when they told him no, he told them, I bet they want me more than they wanted that deal. And he was down to walk for it. And he did. As an entrepreneur, you gotta shield how much your employees know that you're making. I'm gonna give you quick examples. I knew No Jumper was gonna blow up. The moment Adam admitted that he was making $1 million a month, you can't pay no nigga $300 to go do a whole show when you go brag about making $1 million a month. It's not gonna make sense. Everybody now wants to renegotiate.
True.
When I did my master class at Ruin and Ruri and Mealy Mall, those two ungrateful bitches for mentioning me in a disrespectful manner, I ruined Ruri's life. Okay? Ruined it. But the reason why I did it and how I did it was I realized quickly, oh, these boys, they're Joe employees, but they're talking like they're bosses. I played on their emotions. They were weak. They were cosplaying as something they weren't. And when I held fire to their feet, they basically, I didn't even have to get Joe to fire them. They left. Beautiful. Why did I say all these things? Because Vlad is going to learn this same important lesson. What Vlad has started with this Boosie thing is Vlad
has opened the gates.
Feeling him.
He opened the gates to now having people wanting to ask for more money. Here's the thing, though. Like, it's all about give and take, bro. Never ask for more than what you're thinking. I think the stars of the show wouldn't be who they are if it wasn't for the show. And I don't think the show would be what it is without the stars of the show. Right? And I look at the Boosie and Vlad situation, like, it was sort of like the method in red in terms of the chemistry that they had. And if this was really over money, bro, like, look, man, maybe I'm speaking from it from the lines of somebody who wishes they could get put on like that. But I mean, sometimes, bro, you shouldn't really ask for. If you negotiated for a certain amount and things turned out way more successful than they are, I think the real compensation comes from what that success brings to you, right? For instance, I look at like Ari Spears and Vlad, and I think it's good, right? I'm thinking that Vlad TV interviews have done great for Ari Spears and his shows. Isn't Aries relevant? He's doing shows over in he's doing shows in theaters, selling out. Some people who watch Vlad TV would probably say, "Yo, I don't mind coming to see you live." Like it's a success that comes outside of that counts a lot too. That should also count as a compensation. Don't think you deserve to ask for more money off of that platform when it's already done so much for you. It's kept you relevant. It's kept people talking about you. You know, and I think as the platform, you guys should also share exactly how much these people are making off of this. All in all, I think all of you guys are making great money, regardless of what's going on. The success of the show bleeds into the success in your own personal sphere. You know, like Boosie could have created his own YouTube channel off of this, like off the hype he got off of the Vlad TV thing. Man, Boosie knows some other people too. Boosie could have said, Vlad, I see that you're not interviewing these other guys that I know of. So let me create a YouTube channel and let me do my interviews with them while I also talk to you and then become we all bleed and you all just become one, bro. You all just become one. So I don't understand when people now it's all about money and they demanding this and they're trying to get to the bag, but there's a whole sense of culture and relationships formed off of this. It's those things that also help contribute to why you're successful afterwards. So when you start focusing on all just the money, when you go out, I mean, look, Boosie for Pete's sake, bro. Boosie charging like what $20 on Patreon. You know what I mean? That Boosie looks like he's grifting. You know what I mean? Like Boosie, nobody gonna pay $20 just to see you, bro. Nobody gonna pay. At least on Vlad TV, we get a variety of guests. You know, you coming in here, and the first person you interview is yourself. Like that's not how a media platform works, bro. The people who run the business, especially when it comes to platforming, and it's the same as why what we do for the Four Ways Comedy Club is I don't perform as often, and I hate performing there. Not because it's because I'm just so focused on I want to get other comedians on and I want to see who the next good acts are so we can put on a good show for the audience. I'm focusing on that side of the thing. So you don't see me as often. And I don't want to perform like that. But catch me outside of Four Ways Comedy Club, I'm like, yo, shit, dude, catch me doing some stuff. And I'm hoping that people plug us at the show there. You know what I mean? And I'm networking when I'm doing that. So, and I say, hey, you can find comics like me over at the Four Ways Comedy Club, but I'm not going to perform there because I want you guys to watch other comedians there. I do what I do for the Four Ways Comedy Club. You feel me? So, and I appreciate what the Four Ways. I would never ask the Four Ways Comedy Club for more money at this point. It's done a lot for me in this sense that hey, I've actually got a portfolio of work to show that I can actually be a producer for a comedy show, and people should actually hit me up if they want a real comedy show being produced, being put together. You know, me, Uncle T, Kitty Boni Milauti, we came together to do that shit. You know, so it would never be over money at this point. I would never ask for more money at this point when I know how much is being sacrificed just to do it. We appreciate just the platform in itself. We have a diverse range of comedians, and we want people to enjoy the show more or less. And I want to be a comedy show producer. So I'm not looking at the credit or I'm looking at the money for this. It's just all for the terms of culture. And what Vlad and Brucey did was definitely good for the culture at this point in terms of entertainment. Countless memes were created. Boosie's a cultural icon. He could have pivoted off of that and helped selling his own music. Could have even sold his own different kind of podcast where he interviews different people, you know. But then he makes it about himself, and you shouldn't do that because yeah, we like you, but now would you open up a Patreon and expect us to pay $20 just to see you talk to you? And we know that you ain't got the skills to do it because Vlad knows how to ask you the right questions to get the right reaction from. It was really like a peanut butter and jelly situation, bro. So I don't know. Vlad messed up by telling people how much he earned. Boosie's not just looking at the money. Avery Spears is looking at the money, and now you guys want to collapse this whole beautiful thing that you guys built together. And you're even forgetting how much effort it takes to build a platform, bro. Vlad wouldn't be where he is right now if it wasn't for the guests he put on the show. Vlad actually prioritized his guests way more than he did. He only started prioritizing himself, and that's why I defend Vlad. I'm like, Vlad's done a good job, bro. He talks about himself in the interviews sometimes. Yeah, sure, but people rarely ever saw Vlad. You never saw Vlad as much because he was so focused on building the platforms that the artists themselves can get exposure. So he's done a lot for y'all people. So it's now that you guys think maybe outside you're not happy with the fact that you're not making as much as you hoped, or you're probably getting greedy. Now you want to demand the very platform that helped you expand. Now you want to demand more money from them, as if they haven't done enough for you already. Man, come on, bro. Come on. Like I totally disagree with that, bro. It's like imagine if we put the Forwards Comedy Club to be the comedy club to come and perform at, and then just because we're making a lot of money off of it, now if you guys want to demand more money off of us, hold on. You dig? So I don't know, man. It gets complicated, bro.
Self a bit has been, Vlad started this new ecosystem of paying interviewees. I still don't believe in it. I don't interview. I got all the opinions in the world. I don't need another nigga to give me their opinion. I got my opinion. Vlad, his motto is different. He wants personalities that are interchangeable, that he could interview for their life story, but then later he wants them to comment on topics. He compensates them as if they're hosts on a TV show. Well, here's the problem. Not everyone was getting compensated. And also the compensation varied. For example, Boosie was getting $25,000. There's some people that go up in there and get $1,500. There's some people that go up in there and they do it for the free ski. I'll give you an example. I'm pretty transparent. I've never charged Vlad $1. We do a swap. I respect him. He's an OG in what we do. We do a swap. Hey, listen, you come on my platform, I'll come on your platform. I don't have to watch your pockets. I'm good. But a lot of these guys, they look at this as a job. I know I'm being slow with this. What am I talking about? Ever since Boosie has put this out, that he was disgruntled over a $5,000 raise.
I totally agree with the fact that you should pay people for I mean, dude, it's the internet, bro. Okay, stories are for sale. Everything is a product. Okay, if I'm gonna pay somebody for a story, let it happen. I was even telling a friend of mine right now that he wants to write a script based on, it's more or less the crime industry in South Africa. And I was like, bro, you may want to talk to some real people who do this shit. And they telling you a story. This is where you're getting the raw materials, bro. You gotta pay to mine that stuff. I mean, all in all, this is helping your product become something. And then that's where you can sell it off and hope you can make that money back. And I think it's smart to pay people for interviews. They'll come because of that. I don't want, like, do you know how hard it is to get people to fuck with you? You know how hard it is to get people to fuck with you for real? Guys, the real true thing about this content creation stuff, my man, is that people's stories are not out there for free, man. They're not out there for free, dog. Great stories that need to be told. If you think as a producer you want these things to be told through a particular medium, pay for it. Pay them. And yeah, pay them what you think they're worth. If you're saying Vlad has a difference, Vlad pays these people differently. Of course, not every story is a key story. I'll pay my star storytellers great amounts of money because I'll get that money and I'll get some back. I think Vlad was making like close to $35,000 for a Boosie interview, and he's paying Boosie like 25. He's profiting $10,000 only. In fact, Vlad is making less than the star. It's the Hollywood approach, right? If you want Will Smith to star in your movie, I mean, Will Smith off the cuff, bro. Will Smith, if you don't promise any royalties or any take on the theater box office, Will Smith is getting like $20 million off the rip. He's willing to lower that rate if you say, okay, we promise you a stake in the box office intake. We promise you royalties. Will Smith will probably say, okay, I'll do the movie for 12 million. I'll do the movie for 12 million. And he'll recoup the rest. And sometimes when you say yes to 12 million, you could end up making 45 million because if the movie breaks even and your deal said if we break even for every million that we make after that, you get $100,000. So why would Will Smith want to charge you a full 20 million up front? He only charges 20 million up front if you don't promise a box office intake or a stake in the actual film. And he's the star, right? But the extras, they're not gonna get paid that much. Um, some co-stars are not gonna get paid that much. It depends on how you negotiate and what you bring to the table too. Boosie was bringing great views to Vlad TV. Ari Spears, I think, brings great views to Vlad TV, but don't mess it up. Wait, you actually see the results from those interviews. If I do this interview and maybe thanks to this 300 more people, I might sell 300 more tickets to my show. You know what I mean? When I go on tour, I might make more money. I might get into a whole new fan base. There's other rewards outside of just the interview. So don't mind the whole platform for everything they got just because you're on there. And I get that you're working, but if you see the results outside of work from doing that stuff, do you really like I'll do a Vlad interview. I'll do a Vlad TV interview. I would do a Vlad TV interview if it meant that I'll do for the free ski right now. I'll do for the free ski right now. But actually, if I do it for the free ski right now, and let's say that interview becomes a success, my commentary wins, I would at least try to ask for that for a little bit more, depending on how much I'm actually giving. But I look at the numbers and I say, hey, okay, this thing really gave me great exposure, Vlad. I went viral. You know what? I don't really mind working with y'all if it means I could get a bit more followers. If I can make money outside of it, great. I'll do it for the free ski. We just be friends. Matter of fact, I'd even ask for an interview in return. That's it. Like I wouldn't charge the dude anything. It's all about like how you see. You gotta be fair, bro. You gotta be fair. So I think some of these guys get a little touchy about it because maybe they underestimate the impact that they have thanks to those interviews, and they think that they're not getting the results they wanted, so they end up like overcharging the platform that put them on, and I think that's unfair. That's really unfair, bro. Like Vlad's doing the best he can. The interview's doing the best it can for you, and you know what I mean. Now you guys want to turn your back on it, acting like you should charge them more. Like, man, like maybe if your popularity outside the interview also grew, then maybe you could talk that way. But if your popularity grew because of that show, I mean, think about it this way. Look at John Cena, bro. John Cena and The Rock. Apparently, John Cena, WWE makes 10% off of John Cena's wages that he gets from every film he does. That's because WWE still owns the John Cena IP. And John Cena doesn't mind paying them the 10% because he's like, if it wasn't for WWE, I wouldn't be here to begin with. So he doesn't mind giving them the 10%. And we talking like, man, shit, man, John Cena making buku dollars. You know what I'm saying? He's making buku dollars. So he doesn't really mind if he gives them that 10%. It's about the relationships, bro. It's about the relationships and the impact that that relationship has created outside of the very platform you're working on. If it wasn't for WWE, John Cena would not be doing the films that he's doing today. He would not be the cultural icon he is today if it wasn't for WWE. So he's paying his dues back to say, yo, thanks. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't even be here to begin with. I wouldn't even be part of this conversation. I don't know, man. It's just my opinion on it.
Vlad one upped him and put out the real number of what he was getting paid. Let me tell you the truth. None of these niggas on Vlad TV interview knew anybody was getting paid over $10,000, $20,000. So when Vlad comes out and said, "Oh, I've been paying this guy $25,000," everybody now is in shambles. What? It's like realizing you've been stocking a shelf next to Pablo, but except Pablo gets 50 an hour, you've been getting 8.
Pay inequality is a real thing, bro. Pay inequality is a real thing, and I don't. I get why you would be mad, but then again, you need to understand exactly what level you entered. You know, you could get big because of it. Look at Charleston White. Charleston White used to do interviews with Vlad, and they were great. They were hilarious. But Charleston White was also doing extra work on his own to establish his own brand. I don't think the Vlad TV interview. That's with Charleston White's case. I don't see it as a bad thing. Because I was like, no, but Charleston White been putting in the work outside of Vlad too. In fact, he went more viral with Say Cheese. You know what I mean? The relationship he has with Sean and Cotton are like Method Man and Redman. They locked in like this. So obviously their business is different. I would say Charleston White wouldn't be who he is if it wasn't for Say Cheese. Say Cheese helped put him, really stamped his approval. But let's not also discredit Charleston White's own Instagram lives because he was doing a great job at that himself. He was really getting the blogs talking about him, but Sean Cotton just helped humanize him and turned him into this comedy gold mine, right? And that's why you see Charleston White leaves and he comes back. He leaves and he comes back because we know you need Sean Cotton as much as he needs you. Say Cheese would be. It's literally Charleston White TV. I don't watch a lot of interviews on Say Cheese. I mean, I check out the OG Percy stuff, but I mean, when it's a Charleston White interview, I will sit through the whole 2 hours, laughing, learning. You know what I mean? Like it's just a good combination. Charleston and Vlad, not so much. They didn't gel like that, and that's how TV works, bro. I may not work well with a certain television station, but if an animation studio gave me a job and my hit show comes from that animation studio, best believe if I get more work thanks to that animated television show, great. You know, the outcome of that relationship was way more valuable. So I wouldn't really overcharge them. I wouldn't be who I am without them. You get what I'm saying? So I don't get it. Even if they told me they were paying somebody else way more money, I would have been like, I wouldn't be part watching them. I would literally be like, oh, okay, no, that's cool. Like, I think they were bigger than me even before they joined you guys. So I understand why you'd pay them that much. It was an incentive to get them on your side. You know what I mean? So it's insane, bro.
So this is what I'm telling you about how Vlad has fucked himself.
He did.
Everybody now is about to take stock on what they're getting paid, and this is how it works in business. I'll use the everyday struggle thing again to make my point. When Joe was leaving Everyday Struggle, it was clear he could make a deal. You know what he said to me? And I thought it was a real nigga move. He said, Ack, and he dapped me up. He said, Ack, stick them boys up. You know what that meant? They can't get me, so they got double the budget for you. Stick them up. Here's what's happening. Boosie's, right now, Vlad don't got Boosie. So everybody's looking at it like, oh, you were paying 25? And you were only giving me 1,500? It's time to talk about raises. So Vlad is now, and I don't know if this hubris or him being pompous, he's put himself in a position that all of his guests that usually get paid and the ones that were getting paid a lot less, they're now coming at him for more money. What we're going to see is a trickle-down effect of people demanding more than Vlad's probably down to pay.
That's true. Vlad shot himself in the foot on that one there, but I think it's a bit of, it's a bit of both, bro. It's a bit of both. Like I can see from both sides what they mean, but if your numbers go up because of Vlad, stick with the relationship the way it is. You making good money, he's making money. It's all good. Keep the relationship going. But if you want more money because you're not getting money elsewhere like that, it could end up blowing up in your face because now the whole relationship is just tarnished, and then there's no more growth for you. Vlad worked hard to be where he is, bro. I really agree with this. I really do agree with it, and I can see that both sides are valid to a certain degree, but hey, bro, I think do what works for you at this point, man. Do what works for you. If you think this thing works for you and it's working the way it is, and you making more money outside of it, great, keep it going. But don't now turn to them and ask for more money just because you think he's got more money. There's a lot of money that goes into producing these shows. Number one, it's the crew, it's the marketing, it's getting blogs to help talk about your show. There's so many other costs that come by that you guys really underestimate, and your name helps market that. But then don't overcharge. It could fuck the whole thing up. That's all I got to say on
I know
it.
you're still saying, Ack, what are you talking about? So Boosie's doing his own interview. But a guy who I thought was like really locked in with Vlad, apparently he's kicked it off first. Don't know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, let's see.
I'll show you here. His name is Ari Spears. He recently announced on his podcast that him and Vlad haven't seen eye to eye. And this just started since he realized that Vlad was paying Boosie $25,000 an episode. You know what he's saying? Well, if you paying him that, what you finna pay me? Just listen, chat. This is why, and my overall theme is, you can never let them employees know what you're really getting. You're really paying people, because now every nigga who sits on Vlad couch, they all think they worth a little bit more, and they all coming for it. They gonna say you don't got Boosie no more. You need us. Check this out.
Now I want you to put your business / Jew hat on.
A Vlad hat?
Yes. Matter of fact, when Andy puts his Jew hat on, it comes with the Hasidic curls.
I guess I don't wear them.
Yeah. So when he puts it on,
I'm going to make a hat like that.
2 curls.
I'm going to make a hat like that for the podcast.
That's hilarious. Tell me what you think it is. So, Vlad pays me to be on. And
he's probably mad that you said that, because then everybody else wants to get paid.
No, he pays people.
Everybody? He pays?
Yeah, but we all get different pay. So people have said, yo, the most popular guest that Vlad has on, Lord Jamar, Tony Yayo, Godfrey, Boozy, and Aries. I'm the only one left. Godfrey stopped because of the beef with Farrakhan, as did Lord Jamar. Tony Yayo just doesn't do it anymore.
Interesting. I didn't know Yayo didn't. Yayo started doing a podcast with Uncle Murder.
And Boozy wanted a raise. Come to find out, Boozy wanted $35,000 an episode.
Wow.
Now, see, that's what I'm saying. This is why at jobs, I know at your job they usually say you can't tell your coworkers where you're getting paid. This is why. Because the moment you realize that nigga's getting the bag, you're like, I work harder than that nigga. I do more than that nigga. I'm more important than that nigga.
He was getting $25,000.
Wow.
So I don't get nowhere near that. And, obviously it's based.
He may not be getting more than that, but then he's definitely making more on the shows and the exposure that Vlad TV gives him. Right? Like, did Aries look at those numbers? Like, he also needs to do recon and see exactly like, hey, how did you hear about me as Aries Spears? Did you see me on the Vlad TV interviews? If so, the Vlad TV interviews are making an impact. Okay, cool. So I'm making more money off of this on my shows already. Because Aries sells out theaters, bro. Aries makes like what? As he said, he claims he makes like over like what, $2 million a year? He makes $2 million a year as a touring comic. So really, dude, you're earning well enough, bro. You're earning above the threshold here. And the Vlad TV interviews just help supplement that and could even mean more. And I could say, has he gotten better on Vlad? There's a whole performance review that needs to be done here, Come on.
On the numbers, because a lot of Boozy's clips are in the millions. Now, again, I've had a few clips in the millions, but a lot of my stuff, the full interview, probably ranges around 300,000 to 500,000. So I basically said to Vlad, I go, hey, listen, man, I'm not trying to rape you financially. I know I'm not going to ask you for what you gave Boozy. But, come on, man. You know what I mean?
Break bread.
And he goes, well, your numbers don't generate what Boozy generate. And so I showed him a bunch of, people that quotes and on YouTube and like that and on my phone. And one person said, hey, man, I only buy Vlad subscriptions when I know he's interviewing you. Once the interview's over, I cancel the subscription. Another guy said, hey, man, Aries is
Now, I hope you guys are understanding where this is going. Vlad has opened up Pandora's box.
He has.
Into people now trying to value how much they're worth on his platform, but that worth is not only based on X's and O's. You know what he said to Boosie? Boosie used to do 6 million views. Now you're doing low fives. I can't give you a raise. Well, this guy, Aries Spears, he's taking it from a different angle. You know what he's saying? Well, you have memberships. People would pay to get a membership because of me. Why am I not getting a cut of that? You see what's happened? This is why Vlad has now mentioned how much Boosie's getting paid, And all the other players are saying, well, if you're giving him the max, I want the max too.
Beast, pay him what you pay in the mother, and blah blah. So there's a bunch of these. So he goes, so you want me to pay you more based off what people are saying? And I said, listen, man, again, I'm just saying, be fair. People are saying to you they're buying subscriptions. People are saying to you they only watch when I'm on. And of all the guys you had that were popular, I'm the last one standing. What's your
You're forgetting TK Kirkland too. See, I'm one of the guys who's tapped in to Vlad to a certain degree. If it's 1090 Jake, if it's Ari Spears, if it's TK Kirkland, even Tony Ayo at the time, I'll tune in for that. You know, Vlad put you guys together like this. There's a lot of intricate mathematics and strategies used here. You guys are all piggybacking off of each other for him. And that's what makes the platform successful. It's not really Vlad TV is not really about Vlad. Ironically, it's not really about Vlad. And that's why I think Vlad takes. I'm looking at it as a producer, bro. Because I've been in the media space, man. It's not easy, dude. It's not easy at all, because you try to find the best guests for the show. You try, and you're doing all this so that the audience can be entertained. And you guys are looking at it from a point of view of yourselves and seeing it's not just your feedback, bro. A lot of people tune into Vlad for a number of reasons. Vlad has a variety of guests on his show. You know, on Aries podcast, he doesn't have that many people featuring there. You know, Aries can't get a lot of people too, unless he was paying. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of expenses here. Vlad's not only just paying you, he's paying everybody else. And he has to pay you according to what views you bring. You know what I mean? And then now you want to do all of this. Like, come on, man. Like, sometimes also, like, people got to be fair. People also got to be fair towards the platform in itself and understand that I'm not the only one here. There's other people putting in the work. There's other people also doing numbers. I'm doing numbers myself. The real question is, what can you do to improve those numbers there so you can prove that you want the raise? Come on, man.
Yeah. It's a couple things, and you hit the ones that you needed to hit.
Yeah.
What would you have wanted?
That's beside the point. He asked him to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, a couple grand more.
Yeah.
But the thing that he's right in the idea that, yes, you have loyal fans that are calling up and representing you. That's great, and people have that.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that moves the needle where it's going to pay him the amount of money that he wants to make off of an episode.
Exactly.
Those die.
Like, guys, this is how the business works, right? I mean, when you see films, I'll talk about it from a sense of film. If it costs me $30 million to produce a film, right? That's $30 million to actually shoot the thing, without including marketing here. Film gets done, everybody goes home, great. But then now there's extra costs. The media space, they don't tell you about the media budget to market the film, and usually in the film space, it can cost either 50% or 100% of the film budget. So if you do a film for $30 million, it's going to cost you $15 million to market that film. And in some instances, the studio goes super hard and actually gives in another $30 million just to market the film. But this money is not followed correctly, because there are some platforms that could do with interviewing your people, so they ask you for an interview with these cats, with the stars of the film. So they paying to actually get this guy interviewed, right? And they talk about the film on their platform and everything. It's good for their platform to say, hey, this is who we hanging out with. We hanging out with stars of this big film that's coming out that's worth $30 million to produce. And then other times, the studio itself pays other people to help get the interview on them. So it's like, it's a bit of a quid pro quo kind of relationship. Scratch my back, I scratch yours sometimes. You know what I mean? If you interview the stars of my film at this point, it validates your platform. Fans of the film get to see your interviews, and they might log onto your show from there. But then other times I'm like, hey, we need to get exposure on this film. Let's pay other outlets for these interviews, and let's pay for trailers to be made. Let's pay for radio ads. Let's platform this on radio. Let's do all this. Which means when you add it all together, if you're saying that they use 100% of the budget, you've got $30 million for the film and another $30 million to market it. That's $60 million. The studios need to see returns of about $100 million on this film for them to be happy. And sometimes they do all that work and the film makes $80 million. That's all good and well. Oh, no, let's say the film makes $40 million. Yeah, we made returns on the budgets to shoot the film, but we didn't make returns on how much it cost to market the film. Which means it means that the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? Great film. We did what we wanted. We got our budget back, but the marketing didn't give us the returns that we'd be happy with. And Vlad TV does the same thing for his interviews. If he sees you and thinks, okay, if I pay this guy $10,000 for an interview, right, and I have to market this interview and have to do this and that, and I have the cost as well, this this interview needs to generate over 800,000 views for me to make maybe $30,000-$40,000 off of it. And if it does, it means it was a success. The metrics make sense. You know what I mean? But in some cases, I pay you $10,000 for the interview. I get the crew all together. I mean, producing a Vlad TV interview is kind of hard. Like, he's got 2 cameras, right? And he has an editor. And he has somebody who has to clip and form the parts. Those guys get paid monthly. Then he has the star who comes in, who just comes in to talk for an hour. Who doesn't help with the setup, who doesn't help with making sure the set's clean, who doesn't help making sure the guy's comfortable. So all in all, I think a Vlad TV interview costs $20,000 already just to make. Right? That's just the staff. With the guest, $30,000. And then he has to market this. So he's now spending close to maybe $60,000 to $70,000 total per video. So he needs this thing to generate at least about $250,000 before he's really happy. Okay, that's just me being overtly strict, and but maybe like $100,000. He needs $100,000 off of this video for him to really say, I paid everybody off, and the remaining money I can pay myself. You feel me? So, and if it doesn't reach any of those things there, that's why he'll tell you and say, yo, listen, you're not making as much as I need you to make for me to be really happy, to give you a raise. And he also has to pay himself for these interviews because he's the one that drafts the questions. And he has his team that also has to help him do that. So really, bro, it's not as easy as you think. It's not just when the star asks for more money. And this is where I think the actors or performers for a platform, they value themselves a little too much. They forget that there's other people in the mix, bro. There's other people who are involved in this thing. Not that you're being underpaid, nigga. Everybody out of here, like, the business is probably running at a loss sometimes. Sometimes you might even spend more for the interview, but you don't get the returns that you want. And that means it's a dud. And he probably won't book you again. I mean, think about it this way. I think I remember it was between Anton Daniels and Charleston White. That also used to be a cool relationship, right? Like I said, Charleston White did an amazing job expanding himself. He was on a lot of people's platforms. But with Anton Daniels, what Anton Daniels had a problem with Charleston White was, cool, I paid to fly Charleston White out. Comes to Texas, or comes to his town, I think it's Detroit, right? In Detroit. He pays Charleston White to come to Detroit. He hosts Charleston White. He spends about close to $20,000 accommodating this guy. That includes the hotel room, Charleston's S&Ts, which are like snacks and recreational budget, and he pays him for the interview. He probably spends like $20,000-$30,000 just to do that with Charleston. To top it off, he has to now film the interview. And he says throughout the whole process, midway, YouTube demonetizes the video. Anton needs to make $60,000 off of this interview for it to be considered a success. But because of what Charleston White's and the topics he covers, Anton probably only makes $10,000 off of that. And then he's in the red. It means the interview was a dud. And that's why Anton and Charleston don't really hang no more. He's like, I'm cool with Charleston. It's just the way he talks about things, it's not good for my channel and it gets me demonetized. So then he realized that I can't book this guy anymore. It's not a pay dispute. It's just that the juice is not worth the squeeze to have him. He's expensive to bring. We do the interview. I get demonetized. The video is up. It gives Charleston White major exposure, maybe, because of his controversial topics, but YouTube doesn't pay me for these anymore. My sponsors might run away because I have him on there. So he might lose money, actually. And the same thing happens with Vlad over here. What are some of the topics they cover? Vlad may have made an error. Maybe Ari said something that could get the video demonetized. So that's a loss, and he has to cover it somehow. So that's why he's very cautious of how he pays people. The business is rough, bro. The business is rough, dog. Best believe it.
Cards are there for you, but are they there? Is there enough of them to make the numbers work?
Chat, I'm so saddened, and this is why, despite what they ever say about me, I think I'm the fucking GOAT when it comes to this new media shit. And what I mean by that is, when I see all these guys with their platforms, whether it's a 1090 Jake, whether it's a
Adam 22.
Flacco or whoever, I see these guys who I remember even looking at Flacco and saying, Flacco, there's two ways to go. You could go build your own platform, or you could be a host on No Jumper. It's just how it goes. And all of these guys, especially these younger, newer creators, they're all about building their shit to not be in this position. This is what I was saying about Boosie. I said, Boosie, you done gave away the milk. You're the cow that gave away the milk for free for mad long. Now you're expecting to, you should have been done this. I'm watching these guys who are veterans, 40, 50 years old, guys. They're really talented. But they're beholden now to what Vlad wants to value them. They don't have much other market value. I like Ari Spears' interview, but he's never done an interview. I don't see him doing. I didn't even know he had this episode or this podcast. So he's not marketing himself to many other places that's down to pay him. And that's where I think Vlad isn't wrong. Until y'all come back to him with a competing offer, this is how it works. If you're in the NBA or you're in the job market, period, you usually say, hey, listen, I got to leave this job because I have a job offer that's offering me $5,000 more. And your employer gets to make the choice. Hey, do we care about this guy enough to bump up his pay to either meet or match, or exceed what our competitor or someone else in the market is down to give him?
Exactly. If that's also one topic, that's actually one topic I forgot to also mention. Aries has his own podcast, bro. And he does plug it on Vlad TV. And I'm pretty sure you got more listeners because of that, Aries. Because of that. You know, exactly like I said, one hand rubs the other in this media space. We all have to trade platforms, and we all have to have very different formats. Because I can tell you that podcast Aries Spears, he talks about a lot of things, bro. He talks about like what he did over the weekend, what his favorite movies are, I think he's gonna talk about like the Michael Jackson movie recently. And there's a lot of stuff there's other things that he covers here with his friend. It's just not as decorated as the Vlad TV interviews are. So that means that Aries has to bump up his own platform a little bit more and do his thing. I really like the intro song though. I mean, as Spears and Steinberg. I like the beat. I like just the whole intro. I like that, but I mean, bump up your production value, Aries. Look at this. Like, we talk about the comedian that makes $2 million a year. He's not investing in microphones. They're still relying on mismatched headphones, 3-camera setup. You gotta like show that you really are growing with this thing, right? And Aries is keeping it super low budget right now. And you know what I mean? Make it look nice. Like, look at me. This is Real World Radio. My studio looks small right now. It's because I've actually been trying to look at the future of this thing, and I've just been trying to lock in on it. I've been even thinking like one of my guests, Uncle T, one of the friends I work with, he wants to try to come on here. If we build an audience, we don't have that much of an audience yet, but I'm still grinding on for myself so I can show that it's worth their time to be on here. If I do that right now, it's not going to be as big as it's supposed to be, and that's just the whole thing. So Aries has to also prove that his platform has grown off of this, and that he's also doing his part to grow his side of things. Like I said with Charleston White, the reason why Charleston could talk to Sean about more pay is because Charleston was like, I've been doing more work on my own lives, as well as doing interviews with other people and growing the funny. So you can see why I'm worth more in terms of the interview. And even Charleston White, that's why he also could, and he had a valid reason to ask Vlad for a raise. He wasn't put on because of Vlad. It was more because of Sean Cotton. And Sean Cotton pays more. That's why he messes with Sean Cotton more. It's not... I think if it wasn't for Sean Cotton, maybe Charleston would still stick with Vlad. But their relationship kind of felt stunning. The Sean Cotton and Charleston White combination is just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I don't know. There's something about that platform, the energy, that just brings out the best in Charleston. And even in Vlad TV interviews, I think I like Spears more on the Vlad side. With his friend Steinberg here, this is a cool friendship, but it's a niche thing. It's a niche thing, honestly. It's a niche thing, and it's like for real, true Aries Spears fans to tune into. And I tune in sometimes, not all the time. Same with Godfrey. I actually like Godfrey on his podcast more than I saw him on Vlad. Actually, I got Godfrey more on his own podcast than I did on Vlad. And Godfrey's doing an amazing job growing his podcast, bro. He's doing amazing. They're like up to like 500K subscribers, bro. So they're doing a really awesome job at that. So it's not the end all be all to be on Vlad. So never treat it that way. And don't bully Vlad for more money just because you're not seeing any more money coming in from anywhere else. You need to learn how to pivot. You need to know how to make your audience. The real challenge for anybody, and I can tell you this for anybody who's doing social media, like I see it in South Africa as well. I see some cats killing it on TikTok. They killing it on TikTok. And then, but when I ask them about their YouTube channel, they ain't got nothing there. When I ask them about their Facebook, they got nothing there. You kind of need to learn to diversify yourself and put yourself on all these platforms and learn to get your audience to gather their support. So your audience from TikTok, you gotta learn to pull them and say, hey guys, I'm on YouTube too. Come over here and tell your friends about me. You know what I mean? Hey, YouTubers, I'm willing to work with y'all. TikTokers, I'm willing to work with y'all. You gotta spread yourself across everything. Your face has to be everywhere. That's the new hustle for today. That's the new way of how people work right now. So if you're thinking that you're gonna lean on one platform for your bread and butter, it's not possible. It's not possible. And learn that off the hype of this one platform, what can I do to grab them? And that's how I even applaud Aries Spears, because he used to plug his podcast on Vlad TV. And Vlad even allowed him to. You know what I mean? Vlad even allowed you to, because he's like, yo, I guess you can see that you get a lot of viewers here. You want some of these viewers to follow you that way. Some fans are fickle, bro. He even saw here in South Africa. There's a DJ, I'd say 2 DJs. They were hyped because they were on Metro FM. And they were like, Metro FM gets like 4 million listeners. And they were like, yeah, I'm on a station that has 4 million listeners. I'm going to do something on my own. Come and follow me. When you see DJ's Bruce, Hustler's Corner, he's only got like 200,000 viewers. You feel what I'm saying? People may like you on a certain platform, but are they invested enough to follow you wherever you go? Are they that diehard? You know what I mean? And that's the same thing with Real World Radio. I might be fantastic on somebody else's platform, but I need to find a way to get those people from there to follow me, and then I can try to negotiate my price from there. But sometimes the fans just like me because I'm just on there. That's it. You know, if they see me do my own stuff, maybe they may say no, they may say yes. It's whatever. So that helps me have a counter. That helps me build my case against them, and then say, hey, these guys are offering me more money. Why not go with them? Because they know what I bring to the table. They value me more. But if nobody else is hiring and everything, and it's the only guy, why would I want to put this guy for more money and mess up this good relationship, which could have potentially brought me more people? It's insane, bro. So in the media space, bro, or as a person who's on social media, you're trying to do your thing, you need to really learn how to gauge yourself and be honest with yourself and evaluate your situation. And don't take it out on the one platform that's willing to platform you at this point, because if you've got nothing to show outside of that, what makes this negotiation worth it? You know, you gotta have a counter offer. You gotta scare him a little. You gotta tell him, hey, I've got these other guys willing to pay me more, or why do I have to tell you my stories when I can just go on my platform and tell them? You know, like I might as well. Come on, man. Jeez.
Or are we willing to let him go? It's like the NBA. When a player's a free agent, which all these guys are free agents, they get to go explore the field and find the best offer. The problem with Boosie, the problem with Aries Spears, and a couple of these guys is that y'all don't have no other offers.
Exactly.
Y'all didn't. Vlad is focused on his business, but y'all never focus on y'all business. What y'all should have done is, I am a draw. Like, for example, I give you something. One of the reasons that I haven't done anything with Dr. Umar don't do no free interviews. Point blank, fucking period. If you're going to have Dr. Umar on your platform, he's hitting you with the check. Point.
And like it or not, man, Dr. Umar can be worth the views and the clips. He's worth the eyes on your platform. He is. So Dr. Umar knows what he's worth, because a lot of people are making offers towards him for that. You feel me? That's how Dr. Umar can successfully pivot from platform to platform. He doesn't have to build his own platform. He helps validate your platform, and that's the service he's offering. The same as Nota from here in South Africa. Nota does the same thing. Nota has realized that he's more valuable on different people's platforms because it brings them views, and that's how he makes money for himself. And he's proven that all the platforms I've been have had eyes all drawn on them because he's on it. Like it or not. So you gotta pump Jesus, you gotta pay top dollar to get somebody like that. Not too many people are that talented. But he's mastered that craft.
Blank, period. There's a booking fee. Dr. Umar ain't trying to talk to you for fun. I don't care what you're talking about. Even Joe Budden got to pay him. Trust. Now, Dr. Umar has a market of people who are paying him whatever amount at certain times. That is so if he asks someone for such and such amount of money and they're like, fuck no, he doesn't have to complain. He doesn't have to get online and say it. You know what he does? Okay, I'll just go to the next person. He's established the market. And also, if someone says, I don't think you're worth that much, he could literally show them, hey, I have 4 other offers that's saying that. What's up? That's the problem with most of these guys in this market. You know, y'all all were initially loyal to Vlad doing majority interviews for Vlad, and now y'all are trying to create a market when there is none. Yo, Vlad, give me a raise. And Vlad's like, why? Why would I give you a raise? Well, you know, brother, you have no numbers on no other platform except mine. Like, you're a bit of exclusive to me.
Exactly.
That's the problem. Anyway, keep going.
Can you guys see the numbers so you can make that decision yourselves, you too? But the other thing is, the thing that you said, you're the last one there. So he's not going to generate numbers. And if you go, where are those numbers going to come from? Now he's going to have to.
I think there's loads of other people who'd love to be platformed by Vlad. Regardless of his politics aside, the Vlad TV platform is just... It's very valuable to hip-hop media. It's very valuable to hip-hop media. We cannot deny that. And yes, I thanks to High Plus, I also watch High Plus. That's also another platform. I just don't like the questions that they ask, man. Like, they really turn it into this PR stint and they try to keep it all relevant. What I like about Vlad is that they talk about anything. And even the latest news that's going on, so they can comment on that and provide their commentary. And jokes, it's exactly what kept Godfrey relevant in terms of spitting jokes about what's currently happening, which he's recently mastered in putting on his own platform. So I've listened to Godfrey to hear his views on what's going on in the world today, you know? And that's what you guys need to do, clip more. Because I see Aries on his, even on Aries' Instagram page, bro. Aries is more viral because of his imitation stuff, right? His voice imitations and his crowd work videos. But Aries doesn't post that much from his own podcast. So it's like even Aries doesn't value his own podcast as much, you know? And it shouldn't be like that. So now you want to try to believe that for more money, but you haven't done the work to now market your own podcast here to increase your value. You know, yeah, you could do interviews. I don't know. It's just the way Vlad interviews, bro. I've not seen anybody do it like that. Adam 22 does, but Adam 22 keeps pretty street. You know, and Adam is more focused on the street culture. He's more focused on street culture interviews than. So you need to find your niche and find what you like to talk about and specialize in that. And maybe people will come and join your platform because you're good at what you do. Look at 1090 Jake. 1090 Jake is also being interviewed by Vlad because of his knowledge of people being arrested, people being snitches. Vlad is just that diverse, bro. And it's that whole collective within that. From hip-hop to mafioso, to bank fraud, to business, to everything. Everything is encompassed in that, and he does it so well. You know what I mean? Like, you guys also need to learn. I'm learning a lot from Vlad himself. I actually wanted to do something like that over here in South Africa, where we've got the studio, we've got the place and everything. It's just, I need to put it together. I need to find the right people to interview and just find a day where I could do that, you know? I've got the equipment. I thought I could get started with my phone. I've got like a great lapel mic. I just need the double. And yeah, we could do the whole interview, man. We could do the whole interview. I've got a tripod and the lights. The venue has the lights, so we can start from there, you know? I need to lock in and then, you know, give you the New School Rejects TV or Always Comedy Club interviews. And that's about it, bro. You know? That's it. Actually, I could ask Andy for some help on that. I should ask Andy for some help on that. Yeah, some questions. Yeah, cool. I got it. All right, now I'm cool. We'll see how it goes. I just got to organize with him. I
do episodes with people who are doing much less.
Well, here's the funny part. So, of course, he, you know, was being really like, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I said, he kept driving that point home. You just gonna you want me to give you a raise based off what people are saying? I said, listen, man, you don't have to keep telling me about what my worth is. You either want to do it or you don't. So then he texted me back a couple hours later and said, we should talk. I re-looked at the numbers, and we should talk. So come on, man. What are we doing here?
Well, it's like in basketball.
Yeah.
If you
I mean, of course, you can always reevaluate the numbers, bro. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind, too. And it's not that Vlad is desperate. It's just that he realizes that maybe you do have a point. You do bring value to the table. So, yeah, this is a negotiation phase, too, Aries. So, he values you and he thinks, okay, cool. And I think he wants to keep that relationship going in the sense that maybe one day you'll probably give him a kickback as well and say, yo, man, like, he's probably going to ask for a special from you. I mean, he's probably looking at you and saying, all right, Netflix is not going to platform you. Is Hulu going to give you a special? I think Vlad TV can give you a special and will do numbers too. You know what I mean? And I hope so, man. We need a new Aries Spears special for real. We need a new Aries Spears special for real from how I decipher it, man. We need a new Aries Spears special. So, we be good. You feel?
And I'm just, not to break your point, but I'm taking it from your angle, which is more so for me, I'm the last one left.
Yeah.
So there's value in my presence.
Yeah, because your numbers are going to go up based on just the fact that if they like Vlad and they like you, and none of those other guys are there, they're going to have to. They're going to have to go to you. It's like when you in basketball, you're trying to put a team together, and you have you need a center. You have to have a center. You might have to take the 10th best center and pay him the center price for the 5th best center just to get him on your team because you need that player.
Right.
He needs you on this.
Right.
So that's the bargaining you have. The real side for him though is to go, Aries, these are numbers, these are real numbers. If I pay you this much, then we're good. I can't pay more than that. And as long as that's a raise for you, you're gonna. I think you would go, yeah, that's good. Don't just get me my. I want value.
Yeah.
That's all you're asking for.
Yeah.
You didn't say, like you just said, you didn't say give me boozies amount.
No.
So you got to play fair. You got to play nice in this game.
Come on, man.
And if he has you on enough, anybody's going to build more and more momentum when they're on the show. So,
And Vlad is Russian. So my terms of negotiation is take money or die.
dude, and Vlad loves coming out to your shows, man. He
He loves coming out to my shows, but he loves it even more if I would shout him out. He's such a narcissist.
Dude, at the end of the show this last time, when he came back there where we all were, when Ryan Davis used to me, and he just wanted to be part of that whole thing. He's jumping in pictures. He's trying to.
Yeah.
He loves it. He wants
the attention.
He wants to be a star, man.
He loves the attention, man. What do you got?
Okay. So I'm telling you, think Vlad has opened up Pandora's box. And a lot of people are going to start having self-reflection. Once they heard that 25,000, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
I wonder what TK Kirkland's also going to do, bro. I wonder what TK Kirkland's also going to do on this one, because I like TK Kirkland interviews on Vlad, too. Because TK's just been everywhere, bro. TK was there when God said, let there be light. You know what I mean? This is going to be interesting, but I'm glad that Vlad is also showing some appreciation to Aries at this point to say we'll talk. I don't think it's just because, Aries is there. I just think because people are leaving Vlad TV because they started really platforming themselves and they'd rather tell their stories on their own platform. Like, guys, the internet has created a whole plethora of internet entrepreneurs. Like, really, the internet's this is what the internet looks like when you say, hey, everybody should be an entrepreneur and create their own stories. This is what happens, right? Remember back in the days where you literally had to just go on, you only had MTV, BET, Double XL, The Source, and small time hip hop media to get your word out. The internet has just said, man, you've got access to the whole world. So gatekeeping has been dismantled. Everybody can be their own boss, literally through the internet right now. Literally. So it's saturated the competition, but if you stand out and you're unique, you might be the most successful. So that's why I say kudos to cats like Akademiks, who's been grinding for years, bro. He's been grinding for years to get to this position. It's not easy to be where he's at. 1090 Jake, it was really crazy because people like, I remember Charleston White was like, 1090 Jake is part of the feds. And I was like, no, he's not. 1090 Jake just goes on the internet and just looks at police records and finds out who snitched and who didn't. And he found out that's a unique selling point to question rappers' credibility. You know, when they on the rap record saying, I don't really snitch, man, I never really tell. Be about 1090 Jake is like, well, according to this police record, you did tell. You know? Like, that's so unique. And he's providing alternative media as opposed to this paid PR stuff. You know, he's offering a different sense of the real. So you can already see how different these platforms are and what they talking points. Adam 22 with his street culture, street media thing, like who's beefing with who, what's the real gang situation, he's giving us gang news, you know. Then we have academics who's talking about like who's going to jail, who isn't, and what else is happening in life, right? And I'm hoping that real world radio is also trying to be diverse, man. That's what I'm trying to do, but I haven't really been releasing videos too, so you know, it is what it is, bro. I'm still trying to find my niche. And I'm still trying to find my voice. We're still early in the game, people. Still early in the game, all right? So yeah.
So we're gonna see what kind of happens next. Speaking of which,
Yeah, that's it. You know, that's it. That's all right. And there's the Aries Spears interview already. 3 girls, 2 guys and 1 girl is fine playing. What?